Hi gang, Rob here. It is the morning of 19 October 2015. Got a pretty exciting knife review for you today. This one's going to be on the Lionsteel TRE. This one in the gray finish titanium. Pretty cool knife, and apparently the guys at Blade Magazine thought so too. This was the 2015 Blade Show Knife of the Year. And let's see what's in the box. It does come, as most of the all-titanium versions of Lionsteel knives do, in this gorgeous hardwood milled fitted box. Comes with a little literature pamphlet, which is kind of necessary for the TRE, which stands for 3 Rapid Exchange, because there's some stuff you can do to this knife. You may or may not have heard of this knife or have seen it, but 3 Rapid Exchange refers to how you can configure the knife. As you see, I pulled it out of the box as a flipper only, flipper tab, no thumb stud, and it works famously as a flipper only. But let's see what else we can do. In the box, you'll see we have a slot here where the non-integral, that's right, the separate flipper tab could go if you didn't want to use it. Here we have a thumb disc or plate, and then a couple extra screws. This is a dummy screw that you could put in the hole in the blade tang for the flipper when the flipper's not in use. This is an extra body screw. And then the knife also ships with a T6 and T8 Torx driver on a ring. Nice touch, but I found them a little difficult to use, frankly. I'm much happier using my Weeha driver. All the screws on the knife are T6s except the pivot, which is a T8, which is why the T8 wrench is supplied. So let's check this out. Right now we're flipper only. And if you notice, it's a sort of mild detent. So if you're going to push button it, you're going to need to do some forward loading and then flip the knife out. If you're a light switcher, just start with your finger somewhere in front of the flipper and make a nice quick sweep back, and out she comes. I kind of prefer this to some of the modern knives with super abrupt detents so you can actually lock closed if you grab the lock bar the wrong way. With very little practice, this is a nice quick flipper. If you're going to install the thumb stud, let's go ahead and do that right now. Take the dummy screw out of the spine of the blade, and I'm going to set it aside for just a second. We're going to remove the thumb disc from its home, and so we don't lose it, we're going to install that dummy screw in the box right where we just removed the thumb disc from. I think the dummy screws are there just to kind of protect the threads, so as you're using the knife they don't fill up with debris that makes it difficult to do your changeovers in the future. So now we'll install the thumb disc on the spine of the blade. You want your ridges toward your thumb, so the long side with the jimping toward the butt of the knife, and that's going to fit quite tightly once we start screwing it down. Let me see if I can, there we go. So you notice the thumb disc is milled to correspond to the crown and the blade tang, and I'll tell you, when I got this, I was playing with this knife during the review process. I got this thumb disc on here, and it took a little effort, a little tapping to get it off. Even without the screw, it fits very tightly. It's not going to go anywhere. So now we've got thumb disc deployment, and with the flipper tab in place, it has a tendency to catch the flipper tab on my index finger. The thumb disc definitely doesn't get in the way of the flipper tab action, but the flipper tab does get in the way of a quick deploy with the thumb disc. If you're just going to sweep it open, not a big deal. If I were going to carry this knife, I'm not much of a flipper guy, but I probably would carry it with both appliances on. And if I were going to open it quickly, flip. If I were going to open it, slowly, thumb plate. Pretty cool. When I first saw video reviews of this knife, I thought it to be just a little gimmicky. Definitely catering to some of the current market demands by, crazy knife guys. We've got ball bearings, we've got flippers, we've got a thumb plate. Underneath all that hokiness, though, we've got just a gorgeous, gorgeous, finely crafted piece of Lionsteel knife art / hardware. Let's go over some of the dimensions and specifications. The blade is crafted of Bowler M390 steel. Superb stuff. It is a classic drop point with a pretty unique swedge that gives the knife almost a harpoon appearance from certain angles. The swedge nicely carved out of that gorgeous crown spine. Even the back of the tang is crowned. They didn't miss any details on this knife. Handle's 4 inches long, giving the knife an overall length of 6.9 inches. Blade stock's 140 thousandths thick, or 3.5 millimeters. The pocket clip is a beautiful 3D machined with some very subtle milling detail for texture. It is tip up, right or left hand positionable. And it is a very effective pocket clip as well as being gorgeous. Insertable with one hand easily into the pocket. Not an overly ridiculous amount of spring tension. And adequate retention and easy to get out. You can't ask for much more than that. It's great looking and it works great. Notice every surface of this all titanium frame lock has a purposeful milled texture. On the side of the handle scales, the milling continues over to the spine. Then we've got this gorgeous floating backspacer. Some relief cuts in the spine of the handle for the index finger if you're doing a rapid light switch flip for comfort. As maybe I mentioned before, the knife does run on IKBS bearings. That was what Lionsteel's website says. As I look into the knife, these appear to be some kind of a metal caged type bearing. I noticed that Lionsteel's done that a couple times. They have a graphic that looks sort of like an IKBS graphic. But when you open the knife up, we have a caged bearing system. I think that's what we have here. Let's look at the knife ergonomically. In a saber grip, I kind of prefer this with the thumb disc in place because it gives us, although there's no jimping on the spine, it gives us a little stop for our thumb, and it does hold the thumb comfortably and effectively. In the overhand pinch grip, superbly comfortable, and this is a super useful grip for EDC tasks, food prep, you name it. Just powerful, lots of control. In a hammer grip, the short handle maybe exposes itself a little bit in this grip. Get a little flipper tab action on the index finger. I think if we took off the flipper tab, we'd have a much nicer grip there, and you can certainly do that. In the draw cut grip, better. Really comfortable, actually. Not sure you're ever going to use this grip, but with a knife that's just under 3 inches, but it's comfortable. Well, let's look at some size comparisons. Well, let's look at a size comparison. I've got an all titanium knife with just under a 3-inch blade length. What would we compare this to? Well, what channel are we watching? Yeah, that's right. Let's look at a Small Sebenza. Guys, these knives are almost exactly the same size. The blade stock just a little thinner on the Sebenza, but in every other dimension, including weight, these knives are extremely similar in size. Extremely similar. So if you know how big a small Sebenza is, or toward the other end of the pricing scale, if you know how big an Ontario Rat 2 is, this is the same size. It's not a large knife, but I hear small knives are in. I also hear that the market trend is going toward knives that are in proportion, have a svelte carry weight, are pocket friendly, and actually cut. Huh. Is the overbuilt pendulum swinging back to sanity? Perhaps. Evidently the guys at Blade Show thought so. I'm kind of glad I got this knife in for a product overview from Mike Latham at CollectorKnives.net, because frankly, I probably wouldn't have been interested given its what I thought to be hokey convertibility and its ball bearing flipper-ness. But man, I'll tell you what, it's kind of special and it's really well made. I'm going to take the flipper tab off here. Okay. And we're going to put it in its little nest here. Maybe. Doggone it, I did that so deftly before the video. There we go. Maybe. Okay. No need to lock that down tight. Then we're going to take this thread protector screw out of the box. And we're going to put it into the base of the blade. There. Now, there. Just works much better that way without the flipper tab. Let's see, how do we do on the hammer grip? Yeah, improves it a lot. How about a Spidey flick? I haven't tried that yet. There. So that is it. These knives run about $265 in titanium form. I think the price is the same if you go with the carbon fiber version, so the show side carbon fiber scale. They also make the TRE in a dedicated flipper with a titanium lock side and G10 show side in a non-swedged stonewashed blade, same steel, for about $90 less. So about $175 if you go that route. Both are cool. I would probably opt for the expensive one because it's just so doggone good looking. What a beauty. I find absolutely zero construction issues with this knife. It's just a home run. Oh, by the way, did you see the designer? Moletta. Same as the SR series of Lionsteel knives. And guys, if you go to Lionsteel's website now, it tells us his real name and has a picture. Michel Pensato is the real name of the man nicknamed Moletta, whose cutlery design eye we have so come to love. What a cool blade. Kind of expensive for a small knife, but so worth it. I mean, it's still what? At $265, it's $85 less than a small Sebenza. And maybe Lionsteel's best work I've seen to date. Just a superb knife. That's all for today, guys. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word is sharp.